Welcome, everyone. We are live with Dr. McDougall. I'm Gustavo Tolosa, Dr. McDougall's host for the webinars, and it's always exciting to see people logging in from all over the world. This is so cool. Not only are you logging in from all over the world, but I am all over the world. So I'm right now in Cordoba, Argentina. Dr. McDougall is in Portland, and all of you are joining us from so many places. So this is, but I want to welcome Dr. McDougall and thank you for being here with us today. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine, Gustavo. It's so nice of you to dedicate your time and talents from all over the world. It just doesn't seem to be any difficulty that you can't overcome to make sure that I get a chance to talk to people well, monthly, weekly, whenever it happens. And I want you to know how much I appreciate it. I was thinking about the topic that I was assigned today, salt and sugar, and I was thinking about the broader picture. There are people out there who are trying to follow diets that are termed SOS, salt, oil, and sugar free, and they call them plant food based diets. And they never often talk about what I recommend, which is a starch based diet. I don't say anything about salt or sugar. Starch based, of course, if you read past the first sentence, you know that means oil free. Vegetable oil free, animal fat free, and so on. But I look out of the world, look at my comrades, and all the great people who are spreading this message alongside of me. I would say, and I don't hear it directly. In fact, maybe I should hear more about it directly. I don't hear people asking the question, why are the other diets and diet doctors, people I have great respect for, that these are friends of mine, fellows I've worked with for a long time. Why don't they mix up Dr. McDougall's starch solution, starch? Why don't they ever say a diet that's SOS, salt, oil, and sugar free, and Dr. McDougall's diet, or include Dr. McDougall's diet in the salt, oil, and sugar group? Well, I don't understand why, but I do notice that. Do I argue with them? No. Actually, I feel a little sorry for the people who are listening to them, because you're missing a great opportunity to improve your health and your family's health when you focus on SOS, salt and sugar, getting rid of salt and sugar in your diet. What's left? What are you going to taste? Come on now. What do you like to taste? When people come to my clinic in Santa Rosa, California, yes, I'm in Portland now, but I also have a home, we run our clinic out of Santa Rosa, California. I have a place, I was going to say a home, not a place. I have a property in Santa Rosa, California. Anyway, they come when they come to the program in Santa Rosa, California to see us. They don't know what to expect, except they're pretty darn sure the food is going to taste terrible. And it would. I assure you, it'd be. It's unpalatable if you were going to serve the starch solution, the diet that we serve, Mary and I serve at the clinic. If we were going to serve that diet as an SOS-free diet, you'd have a pretty tough time eating it, I think. Unless you did some cheating. People cheat. They add simple sugars as maple syrup and honey and molasses or fruit purees, and they try and get by with the salt thing to give you the salt taste. They try and get by with soy sauce, etc. Well, that's salt. What I tell people when they arrive at the clinic, at either the 3-day weekend or the 10-day program, is I tell them, if you don't like the food, the salt shaker is right there in front of you. And in the morning, you'll find a bowl of brown table sugar, brown table sugar. Could be white, it doesn't really make a lot of difference, to give you taste, so you can enjoy the food. Because that's what people miss, is the taste of salt. Mostly salt. And the taste of sugar. And I just want to get them well. I have no point to prove. I just want them to lose the weight, have their blood pressure come down, have their diabetes go away, if they have type 2 diabetes. That's my goal. And I also, another goal that we have, Heather, Mary, and I, is to have them leaving saying, that's the best food I ever tasted. And my observation is that that happens every time. Usually the first day of the program, I tell them, oh, today's Friday. You're going to have mashed potatoes and some other good things. By Tuesday, you're going to love the place. And you're going to love the food. It's going to take about that long a time for you to adjust. But in the meantime, just take the salt shaker and put it on the surface of the food. Put the salt on. We don't use salt in the cooking for most dishes. Some of them have a little basic soy sauce. But we do have salt shakers on the table for you to add the salt. And that's where you can taste the food without getting a load of sodium. Say sodium is bad for you. And likewise, we put a little bit of, we put maple syrup, and we have that out when they have the waffles and pancakes, and we have brown sugar when we have the cereal. But some people are so confused, not just people who are into our movement, even the salt, oil, and sugar-free advocates. Now, that's what people look at, salt, oil, sugar-free. I don't want you to look at that. You know, people don't really have a problem with the adjustment of eating the food if you put a little salt, sugar on the side, on the surface. And they eat it and enjoy it, and it all turns out well. And then you can adapt if you want to lower sugar, lower salt intake. So I'm even talking about our diabetics. We've talked about this before. We talked about how sugar actually makes diabetes better. We've gone over the papers. You'll find that information on my website, how sugar increases insulin sensitivity, what makes it work better, and how high blood pressure. In fact, you can find that in an article I wrote on salt, the scapegoat of the American diet. You see, salt does really hurt people if you mix it up with ham or a pig and call it ham. Yeah, that can be a problem. Well, just to tell you that the people who follow us and the people who don't follow us are so confused about nutrition. The main reason is there's no financial advantage to telling you the truth. What I'd like to do with Gustavo's help right now is just for a minute, I want to show you some truth put out by industry 40 years ago. Truth. Every word in what I'm going to show you in this video is true. I'll explain to you why, but you're going to go, my goodness, I can hardly believe this. Watch.
You know, this was me 5 years ago, and it's still me. Because I confess I'm a waistline watcher from way back. Well, that's enough for today. Now for a lively lift. Ice-cold Coca-Cola. There's no waistline worry with Coke, you know. Actually, this individual-sized bottle has no more calories than half a grapefruit. Another thing, the cold, crisp taste of Coke is so satisfying, it keeps me from eating something else that might really add those pounds. Coke's a natural, wholesome blending of pure food flavors. I guess that's why everyone likes the refreshing new feeling you get, only from not-too-sweet Coca-Cola. And no wonder. Lively, lifty Coca-Cola provides a welcome bit of quick energy between meals. Makes for a pleasant pause in a busy day. Oh, and remember, Coke is low in calories, too. Say, now, don't you get any thinner.
Could we have those notes? So I can't remember exactly everything Connie said, and it was more than 40 years ago. It was 50 years ago. She said some pretty dramatic things that everybody out there believes are true. These are untrue. You know, they're false claims. But I'm here to tell you they are actual, truthful things that Connie said. Do you have a list of those, Gustavo, you can put up? The fat you eat is the fat you wear. Let's compare a Coca-Cola, say, with a glass of milk. A glass of milk, regular old milk, is 50% fat. Coke has virtually no fat at all. Cheese, 70% fat. So what Connie says is true. The fat you eat is the fat you wear, and if you drink Coca-Cola as opposed to milk, you'll lose weight because the fat from the milk is going to go right to your body fat. And the sugar that you eat in excess, as we talked about before, those excess sugar calories are not going to be transformed into fat calories that are stored in your body fat. They're going to be disposed of in other mechanisms. So even though people believe, and they teach, even our SOS, well-meaning people, good people, and you know, I really do mean this. I'm talking about my friends, even you know, even people who have almost the whole picture put together, they have trouble understanding that sugar is not converted to fat, and sugar shouldn't be listed as one of the main concerns in your diet as it is with SOS, unless that's meant starch. So sugar is not converted to fat, as Connie indicates. Sugar is appetite satisfying, and Connie tells you that. Connie says there in this commercial, the cold, crisp taste of Coke is so satisfying, it keeps me from eating something that might really add those pounds. Isn't that interesting? It's carbohydrate that satisfies the hunger drive. Fat offers virtually no satiety when you eat it. And so if you're focusing your attention on sugar, you're missing the real culprit, which is the oil, which is the middle O, that's causing people to be fat. And let's see, Coke is low in calories compared with milk. Let's see, 8 ounces glass of Coke is 97 calories compared to 146 calories in the same size of whole milk. More than 50 years ago, the Coca-Cola commercial had more nutritional information, more of an honest understanding of food than probably 99% of the people today. And I know my good friends that teach SOS free, they know this, but they don't put the emphasis on it. And we've known about it for 60 years and more. So, should you eat sugar? No, I'm not telling you to eat sugar, but it will flavor your oatmeal. And I'd rather have you eat the oatmeal than toss it out. So a little bit of sugar on the top of oatmeal would be okay. Salt, same thing. You shouldn't load up with salt, but a little salt on the surface of food works out okay. When they take a look at people on various diets, I'm talking about scientific investigations, look at people on various diets. They look at what happens to blood pressure in terms of salt intake. And I went through the literature before our time together here today. There's one particular study. You can clip it. And the effects of free sugars on blood pressure and lipids, a systemic review and meta-analysis of the nutritional intervention trials. And what they found is substitution of free sugar for complex carbohydrates like potatoes and rice had no effect on blood pressure, body weight, and it was unclear what it did to lipids. In other words, triglycerides, cholesterol, and so on. It raised good cholesterol a little bit, but also raised triglycerides a little bit, and it wasn't consistent. So it really doesn't have, scientifically studied this analysis of various papers. American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, year 2017, just recently published. So why do we put, I remember Robert Pritikin. Nathan Pritikin was a good friend of mine. And you all recall the Pritikin program. We have a food company called Dr. McDougall's Right Foods. It's sold in 6,000 stores across the country. And the Pritikin people, they wanted us to make a cereal line for them. So we designed the package, Pritikin on it, and we made the exact same cereals and soups and meals that we made for Dr. McDougall's Right Foods, but we left out the salt. We made a whole load of these units of these cups that were our cereals and soups, but salt-free. They were off the market in a matter of just a few days. Nobody buy them. Nobody eat them. Nobody buy them a second time. The salt is what people enjoy. If it does serious harm, well, then we should not have it in the food. Consistently, if it does harm, we shouldn't have it in the food. Actually, some studies, many studies that are done, you can find reviews of this. And in the paper I wrote, Salt, the Scapegoat of the American Diet, it has many of these studies, and there are new ones coming out all the time. Actually, many studies show that salt is associated as a J-shaped curve. In other words, very low salt diets actually increase the risk of heart disease, and really, really high salt diets. Now, when you talk about low salt, let's just say the average American eats 3 grams. We're talking about maybe 500 milligrams or a half a gram or less. And when we're talking about really, really high salt intakes, we're talking about 11, 17, 22 grams of sodium intake. Those seem to show some detrimental effects on people in terms of cardiovascular disease. But the lowest death rate, as shown in studies, is associated, it's a U or J-shaped curve of mortality. The nidus, the low point, is when people take a sodium intake of 2 to 4 grams a day. So why am I going to focus on keeping you away from something you love so much? Salt. Or a little sugar on your oatmeal. Why? When it makes no difference. Or it could be an adverse effect to you. What I really want to do is I just want to get you well. I want to get you off your blood pressure medications, your diabetic medications. So I give you a meal plan, both on our website, when you come to the clinic, and those of you who've been to the 3 and 10 day, you'll attest to that. In fact, you may want to start a whole conversation with a new friend who's ready to change their diet with, that food tastes so good. And then you kind of sneak the words out because it's got some salt and a little sugar on top. So they're not hazardous. These particular ingredients are not the health hazards that's keeping you fat, obese, keeping your type 2 diabetes going. No, and so we give them to you because I want you to eat the food. So top it with the things that you love so much. On the tip of your tongue, as far as taste goes, you have, I won't count them, I'll just talk about them. Salt and sugar on the tip, and you've got bitter and sour on the back. Salt and sugar are attractive. They make you want those ingredients, so you go out and get them. So they're on the tip, and sour and bitter are on the back because they're associated with medicines at best and at worst poisons. There's also a taste bud for fat on your tongue. If you can't taste fat, then it's an avoidance taste bud. It's a taste bud that causes you to avoid the fat. And as a result, people who have the sensitivity to tasting fat are usually thin. Those of us, and it must be most of the population, because 80% of the population is overweight, most of the population doesn't have that fat-tasting taste bud, and they just slip it in without any hesitation at all. And last year, I'm up here in Oregon now, and at the university, not OHSU, but Oregon State University, they did a study and published it. I think that one's worth looking for. Yeah, here it is right here, because you'll want to look it up. Put it up on the screen enough for you to take a picture of it and look it up. They did a study on people, and they blocked the sweet-tasting taste buds, and then they fed them starches, carbohydrate starches, which the sweet-tasting taste buds they're not sensitive to them. They don't feel the starch. And when they blocked those sweet-tasting taste buds and looked for other taste buds that liked sugars, not simple sugars with 1 or 2 glucose units on them, but complex sugars with maybe 7 or 14 or 40 units, the sweet-tasting taste buds don't notice them. So you block those, and what they found is a special, unique, as powerful taste bud for starch. Yeah, there's also a starch-tasting taste bud. Humans can taste glucose, starches.
Yes,
article. Let's see, Mary, yeah, there she is. Oregon State University. Did I pronounce Oregon right, Mary?
Well,
I'm still learning. Oregon?
Oregon, I think I got Oregon. All right. And what's the name of the river right in front of us?
Willamette.
You think so?
I think so. Hi, everybody.
Anyways, this is a foreign place. We have to learn a whole new language.
And they tell you if you pronounce it wrong, too.
I'll tell you, but people in Oregon don't like people from California. We already found that out, too. So we got to keep it quiet that we're up here.
When we drive past with our car, they wave at us and say, go home.
But anyway, we're up here for a while. But we'll be back for every 3-day and 5-day program.
Yeah, we'll be there in June for
Yeah,
the program.
June 8th.
Yes.
Is
Right.
Our next 10 days, June 8th, and it's almost full. So I'd take the trouble to sign up if you're going to come as soon as possible.
And they can see us in person.
Yeah, you can see us in person.
We're real people.
So,
Yes.
what do you do, like for breakfast?
Oh,
First of all, we do not eat SOS free.
we do not. Oh, John and I do not eat SOS free. We eat O free.
We eat very oil free,
We eat very O free.
oil free, fat free.
Oil free. We do not eat SOS free. However, we eat SOS small amounts.
Yes,
Um,
not the O part.
Not the old part. So salt. For salt, when I cook without salt. When you cook beans, when you add salt to the beans early in the cooking process, it makes them really tough anyway, and so it takes forever for them to cook if they ever get soft. So you're not supposed to add salt to the beans. It's part of the way you cook beans. So it was made that way. They probably figured when they made beans that people didn't have salt or they weren't going to use it. And so they just made it so that the beans cook nice and soft without the salt. What I do is I cook all of my foods without salt until the very last minute. And then depending on who I'm having for dinner, I will season it myself, or I will put it on the table unseasoned. I mean, I season with other things. I don't just throw it out there plain. I season with oregano and basil and all kinds of great seasonings that I use.
And we, us personally, either at the clinic or at home when we're eating, we never add salt to the food.
Well, you don't.
I don't. You do. That's right. You like salt.
I like salt, so
And it's gotten to these days when I go to a restaurant, even a really a real clean restaurant where you can get really clean beans, they're too salty for me to eat. Too salty. Your taste buds change. It takes about 2 weeks, so you can adapt easily to a low salt diet if you want, but don't. At least when you're starting, because you want to adapt to the diet specifically. You want to focus your attention on the right letters in that SOS acronym.
Yeah. So what I do is I take the salt and I sprinkle a little bit on the top. I don't pour a whole teaspoonful in or whatever. I sprinkle just a little bit over the top, and then I stir it through the whole dish, and that's how I serve it. And then people taste a little bit of salt and they think, well, there's enough in here. And those that don't, then they add a little bit more. I always have a salt shaker on the table. It's not like it's such a horrible thing that they can't have it. And I do the same thing I don't do exactly the same thing with sugar, but I would with oatmeal. I would put.
Yeah, but there was a time when you ate your oatmeal with sugar, and I ate mine without. See, so you should.
He ate his without, yes. And the bird only liked my oatmeal because my oatmeal had sugar on it.
That's
and
right.
He would only eat my oatmeal.
We used to have a big bird. That was a mistake. But anyway.
Say that maybe somebody has a bird they like.
Let me ask you a quick question. Do you think there is a difference whether a person uses white sugar or brown sugar or molasses or maple syrup or it's just sugar?
In terms of health, in equal amounts, no. In terms of their guilt, yes. People sit down to brown sugar and they go, "Oh, this is health food. I can eat as much as I want." It's the dishonesty, just like that commercial I showed you from Connie. It's dishonesty around either because of ignorance or because of purposeful messages. That
it's still sugar.
It's just sugar. It's all the same.
It's still sugar.
It has the same effect on the body. Basically, the same number of calories. It's maybe higher in fructose one as opposed to glucose, and that again is a blown up myth. glucose, fructose thing. They're basically about the same. So yeah, when you pick your poisons, don't think you're doing good by
Well,
having
what I
brownies.
was going to say though is, have you ever tried to eat brownies without any sweetener added to them?
That's one program we almost lost all the people.
Early in the program, we had a new.
It was the first night.
Was it the first?
It was the first night when we used to have brownies the first night.
But I mean, it was early in the program.
I think it was the first night.
No, I think we had them sometimes before. Well, anyway, the chef served us brownies. And usually everybody would rush up to the dessert table because, oh boy, we get dessert, you know. They get all excited. And we didn't see anybody rushing back.
At least going back for thirds or fourths like
and
we
we
do
didn't
now.
see anybody eating their brownies really fast.
Maybe they were spitting it here on the side or something.
I wonder what was wrong. And we tried one, and the kid forgot to put the sugar in.
Yeah.
Or otherwise he thought, oh, they don't want me to use sugar, so I'd rather not put it in. And really, it tasted like a mud pie.
Yeah, well, before we have to quit, let me just make sure you all are listening to the emphasis. Because people are easily.
Dessert is the word, right?
Yeah, that's a dessert. Brownies are a dessert. People love to hear good news about their bad habits. And when we salt and sugar, they go, oh boy, I can't get rid of it. But let's put it in perspective, okay? This is a starch-based diet. When you look at your plate, over 90% of the plate is covered by corn or rice or potatoes, which are naturally sweet tasting. That's why you like them. And then you have some green stuff and fruits and vegetables and things like that. Or
you see how much he likes the green stuff?
I eat the green stuff. I do. Yeah, because it's important. It's important for your health, and also it's good for you. But you need to focus on what's important. This is like if you have 7 bad habits. You're an alcoholic, you smoke cigarettes, and does a little cocaine on the side. You're not going to change your diet the same day that you quit the other habits. You know, pick one issue at a time. The issue right now is to change the fat centerpiece, as we did the video with Connie, the milk, the fat centerpiece. We want to change that for carbohydrate, not for sugar like in a Coca-Cola, but for sugar like is found in a potato. 90% of the calories.
Right. Now, Dr. McDougall, you know, some people have taken your stance on salt and sugar to mean that you allow for their use completely without regard. Now, can you clarify that?
Well, you got to be criticized for something, even if it is misinformation. People are going to say things, not enough to me, to my face, and I wish you would if it was negative and I needed to hear it. But people need to say things, and they'll focus. And they've done this actually on some YouTube videos. There's one guy from, I think he's from Australia, that actually said, "Here's the McDougall diet."
And showed a
bowl of cereal
with a whole pile of sugar on top of it, and I just exaggerated everything.
Yeah.
And if he had bothered to even read the website,
well, he did. He knew the website well, and he knew my
it
teaching.
says right on the website how much he uses. It doesn't tell you he didn't read the website. He maybe said
I don't know what
read
his
the
motives
website.
were.
He didn't read the website.
Anyway, there are people out there who have misrepresented what we say. I don't really care. You can say that whatever. The important thing is those of you who really care. The important thing is those who really care will dig just a little bit deeper and find out what Mary and I are really saying. The name of the book is The Starch Solution.
Right.
For 50 years, we've been teaching a little over 40 years, we've been teaching a diet based on rice, corn, potatoes, beans. You don't have to look very hard to figure out what we want you to do. And to get you to eat it, if I have to make the sacrifice of giving you some bad stuff, a little sick stuff, sugar on the top of your food, I'm willing to do that. You get off 10 diabetic medications or 3 blood pressure pills. I think that's a fair trade. And then later on, you can work on other things like polishing your shoes or whatever. Anyway, that's you probably heard about that.
Yeah. So basically, just again to make it clear for our viewers, a whole food plant-based diet. Am I hearing you right to say that
No,
it's not any superior than whether it's salt-free, SOS-free or not? Because there's quite a bit of information going on these days to say that a whole food plant-based diet is better, is superior if it's SOS-free.
I haven't even gotten into that argument, Gustavo.
Okay,
I
all
really,
right,
I object to whole food plant-based as the description of what I
that's
eat.
right. You first you say starch-based.
Yeah, because you could be living on spinach greens or broccoli florets and be starving to death. And a lot of people out there who are doing that. They're eating a whole food plant-based diet. Well, as I say, that could be cauliflower, broccoli, sprouts, lettuce, and that's it. You'd be doing that
Not
about
a potato in sight.
nothing to satisfy you in sight.
Half
So
an hour later,
it's a
you're
whole
starving.
different objection I have about people describing something that we're all trying to attain, whether you teach SOS free or whole food plant based, or trying to attain optimal health for people so they can eat as much as they want of delicious food, get off as many medications as possible, which in our case, as put in our published studies, which is close to 90% of people reduce or stop all their medication. We published that in 2014, never been questioned. That's what I want for you. I want you off your medicines if possible. I want you looking trim. I want you as active as you possibly could be. Get as many good years as you can. And you're going to do that with a starch-based diet. You're going to do it with more pleasure if you add a little bit of salt and sugar to the surface. But I don't want to get you into any new bad habits. If you don't eat salt and sugar now, don't listen to me. Also, from the point of view that because I say it's a little great to use a little to make. What was the Mary Poppins saying?
A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down.
A spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down. So if you want the medicine to get off your blood pressure pills and your diabetic pills and your insulin, your multiple sclerosis drugs, it's a whole new thing I got to talk about. Being up here near OHSU, we're going to have a discussion next week.
Yes.
Anyway, we just want you to get well, and it not cost you an arm and a leg, even if it costs you an arm. We just want you to cost you another. There's just no reason not to do this. But
Exactly.
part of
Well,
it is Gustavo make it possible for us to share this with you folks.
yes. This was a great webinar, Dr. McDougall. Thank you for clearing up this issue of salt and sugar. We are on a tight schedule today, so we're going to finish in a couple of minutes. Do you have any other things you want to share with our viewers today?
There's so much research coming out now. I probably get 3 or 4 emails a day from people that say, "You've been saying this all along."
Surprise!
This knowledge, just like Connie's message about the sugar in relationship to fat. This is old news. This is stuff that was brought out in the 1920s, 100 years ago. No, I think what I'd like people to do is to get the truth. Unfortunately, we'll end with this. We have the truth on our side. We have success on our side. Our published studies show that our patients with arthritis and blood pressure, et cetera, get well. Okay, Gustavo, from
Very
Argentina,
good.
whole world away.
Very good. Thank you so much. And I want to remind people that now we're going into a 2-week, every other week webinar to match kind of your schedule and mine. And the next webinar is going to be with Dr. Lyle in 2 weeks. And then we'll have you back, Dr. McDougall.
Well, you'll send everybody a notice, right?
We will. Everybody will get a notice. Everybody will get a replay of this webinar. And have a great afternoon.
Fortunately,
Okay.
they're recorded. And they're
Yes.
on the website, and as everything's free. Basically everything is free. It's drmcdougall.com. And I guess Mary and I have this. Mary's a nurse, and I'm a doctor, and we were raised with the idea that we were supposed to help people and get them well, not just load them up with a bunch of medications. So, all right.
Excellent. Thank you again.
Okay,
We will
thank
see
you.
you in a few weeks then. All right. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're